Our excellence began to accelerate through philanthropy over the next 25 years. Donors supported things that they cared about, like employee education. And innovation is a long-held value of this organization. And in the past few years especially, it's been on our hearts and minds, because there's so many ways that we can influence our organizations by thinking differently. Thinking about things like facilities, healthcare services, performance improvement, and new products and services. So we wanted to determine how to build on the excellence at Westminster Canterbury that was created by those who came before us. And we wanted to put that power into the hands of our staff who serve our residents themselves and the residents who are really the experts in what this would mean. So we wanted to equip our workforce to unleash their potential to think in new ways to meet challenges that we had been exploring for years. And we wanted to create a channel to turn their passion for this industry into action. So the foundation started this effort by creating a process where our staff could submit applications for funding for new ideas and projects. And we had some success. We've had some exciting things happening. So here are some examples. We have a preceptor program where our new nursing staff are paired with experienced nurses for detailed orientation and training that ensures that our residents in our Parsons Health Center receive the best care possible. A professional school of learning trains every employee annually on topics like teamwork, leadership development, and more. A conscious discipline program in our Child Development Center enhances our intergenerational programming between children in the center and our residents. And a partnership of our pastoral care team with Honoring Choices, a facilitated conversation process regarding advanced directives. So after 2 years of these innovation grants, we realized that we could increase the effectiveness if people had the right tools to know what innovation is and how to do it. So we wanted to make sure we were making the best use of our resources at Westminster Canterbury: financial, time, and talent. We kept our eyes open for training for our staff, and it just so happened that I was in the midst of working toward my master's in business administration. It was through a global MBA program with IE Business School, which is a top MBA program located in Madrid, Spain, and that took me to a global immersion week in Miami last January. One of the days was focused on innovation and entrepreneurship, and Susan Amat was our speaker. I was incredibly inspired by hearing her describe how you can bring entrepreneurship into existing organizations, and immediately thought that this is a message that we need to hear in senior living, healthcare, not-for-profits, and all kinds of organizations. So we began discussions about how to bring her company, Venture Hive, and their knowledge and experience here to Richmond and Westminster Canterbury. So now we'd like to introduce you to Susan. Venture Hive has run internal and external innovation programs in Fortune 100 companies, accelerators, and universities with innovators and entrepreneurs in more than 60 countries. Susan had planned to be here live with us today. However, the state of Florida has a very strict approach to jury duty, and unfortunately, she could not get out of it. So we do apologize that you don't get to see her live and in person, but we're going to have her join us via video and let her introduce you to innovation herself.
My job today is to talk about innovation. And that topic, everybody loves talking about innovation, but it's really not always clear to people what it is. I've spent most of my life, and I'm a lot older than I look, but most of my life helping startups, entrepreneurs go from I have an idea to now I have customers and I'm helping people live better lives in whatever way that product does. And I love doing that. But what kept happening as I worked with startups and entrepreneurs all over the world is that in order for them to scale and really kind of grow their businesses, a lot of times they had to start working with corporates, either for investment, piloting, distribution, lots of different reasons. And fortunately, a few years ago, we started actually helping corporates find ways to be more innovative. And a lot of times that meant really empowering their employees to be the kind of people who, instead of saying, wow, it stinks that this happens, or that's annoying, or somebody needs to fix that, it really was about getting that employee to say, oh, I see this problem, I can fix it, here are the steps, here's a better way of doing it, here's how I can make sure that what my idea may be actually solves the core problem and is aligned to the company's mission, will make things easier for my employees, for my partners, for my bosses, and really at the heart of it, just make something better. That's true innovation. It doesn't have to be tied to a patent. It doesn't have to be with lawyers writing up things and filing them officially. Innovation is as simple as ways to find value to make something better, faster, or cheaper. I think we're starting to see a very big shift where every single employee, whether you work for a government, a nonprofit, a for-profit, at every level, there's kind of a different level of expectation around accountability and transparency of how do we make things better. And so I want the concept of innovation to be really clear. Innovation is seeing a problem and solving it at some level. Now that could be a solution that changes the industry forever for everyone and becomes a multi-billion-dollar business. But again, it can be as simple as we can make this system, this process better. But it all comes back to having it being aligned with the company. When we started around 6 months ago, working with the incredible team and incredible employees at Westminster, Canterbury, Richmond, it was really a challenge, as it is with every company, because innovation and change is hard and it's scary. And especially when you have a bunch of employees who are world class at doing their jobs. They have an incredible organization that's award-winning and loved and respected everywhere. So when you think about where the comparisons are for what a world-class retirement community looks like, they've won it all. They've already checked the boxes. And it's hard sometimes to take a step back and say, all right, in the next 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, how will our jobs and our industry shift by looking at these new technologies, these new processes, these new ways of thinking? All of us are comfortable at this point with using different apps. We may have a Nest in our home. We may have different IoT devices helping us make better decisions for ourselves, our security, our food, etc. When you add in all of these things that are now available on the consumer market, that if they were applied in business settings, would actually really potentially change not only how residents, community members, family members can interact with the system as a whole, but more importantly, as a business, how does that help us make better planning, have better care, have better understanding, not just for resident experience, but for employee experience? There is no end to new and innovation and innovative solutions that are coming out all the time. Sometimes technical, sometimes medical devices, sometimes apps, as I meant. There's lots of different choices. Where would you even start? Well, instead of starting with cool technology and how to apply it, think about what's the actual problem and what's the actual use case. If you really want to have innovation be part of your life every day, and you want your organization to be comfortable with it, it all starts with your attitude towards whatever change may be. Change is never easy. I don't even like to try new mayonnaise. I like the mayonnaise I like, that's it. I think what we have to really focus on always comes back to whoever your customer is. Whether your customer is a person at a grocery store, a resident in a nursing home, a student in a college setting, whomever it is, we have to think about the experience we want him or her to have every day. We want to think about how we're communicating their comfort, how much trust we've created with them so that if there is a problem, we know about it before they tell 20 other people. And then it's an issue of peeling back the layers. Is there some part of our interaction or our product or service to them that can be made better? Not from our perspective, from their perspective. And where a lot of people kind of go wrong is getting really excited about a solution, but not the actual problem of the customer. So let's take it down to like the most simple applied steps. If I know that there's a better way I can serve a customer, what do I need to do? Talk to your customer. Talk to lots and lots and lots of customers with a very open mind. We've worked with many, many technical people who get really excited about a solution, build something amazing that 90% of which really didn't solve the actual problem that they were trying to solve in the first place. And when you look at startup cultures, I think part of the reason why they do so well a lot of times is that everybody knows they're there on a mission to do something great. It makes it a lot harder to kind of create that culture in large companies, because even though they've already done something great a lot of times, when you're going after something new or innovative or creating that new initiative, if they don't feel as though they have the support of the whole, it's really, really challenging to keep things moving. So the other side of innovation isn't, you don't have to be the person with the idea. Ask good questions. Don't say we've tried that before. Don't block. Be that champion. If you're able to identify the people who do come up with great ideas, sometimes it's a lot easier to not listen, to say why it won't work, to kind of put the barriers in front of it before anything's ever tried. There's a big chance you're going to lose the great thinkers pretty quickly if you don't give them the room to think big and have logical steps of how to try things and get there. But if you're able to be the person who says, well, here's what we need to do to figure out if this is a good fit. Give me this kind of information. Give me this data. Help me understand how you're viewing how these things would work. Take the time. If they're not going to follow up with the guidance you've given them, they're not as serious about it as they may have thought they were. And that's okay. But for every innovator, for every group of people who actually want to realize the best in themselves and the best in the organization, there's a lot of people who have to support them. Don't be scared to try new things. Never lose that sense of curiosity. And at the end of the day, if you're able to help people find a new side of themselves, a new way that they can use the skills that they've had on one side of their job to actually solve problems in the other areas of the business, that's exciting. So entrepreneurship education, innovation development, it all comes back to a person seeing a different side of themselves because they're not scared to try. And if it doesn't work, what new skills did they learn? What did they learn about themselves? What did the company learn about how they can better try new things for the future? Innovation and failure isn't something to hide. It's something to reflect on and build into making the stronger you, the stronger organization, and usually the much better solution at the end of the day. So today is really a call to action. How are you going to make your community better? How are you going to make sure that when you see a problem, you actually try to figure out how to solve it? And you're not scared to bring together other people who may not have the solution either, but don't be scared to talk to whoever has the problem and find out what will solve it for them. And if you're really generous, Westminster, Canterbury, Richmond has some pretty incredible opportunities to be part of changing how longevity is viewed through the rest of the world. And I'm so happy to be part of the team. I'm so excited to know these wonderful people who are on a mission to change the way all of us are going to live our golden years.
So through this partnership with Venture Hive, Westminster Canterbury initiated our own Innovation Accelerator. We've had 25 employees from across multiple departments as our first innovators participating in a pilot program for training and projects. These employees committed to 4 months of intensive education and projects that will transform aspects of Westminster Canterbury Richmond. You met some of them in the video at the beginning of the program, and I hope you had a chance to ask one or two about innovation during breakfast. Participants committed to a 10-course program that covered topics such as fundamentals of innovation, customer research, key performance indicators, products and pricing, sales, strategic partnerships, equity, finance and funding, digital marketing, legal and intellectual property, culture and human resources, marketing, and executive development. Additionally, each group worked to develop and continually refine their pitch decks to perfect the way they defined, communicated, and organized their projects. We anticipate these teams will have far-reaching potential here and beyond our walls, and hopefully throughout our industry.
So these are some of the areas that our teams are focused on. How to create a vital living center that focuses on all aspects of whole person wellness for seniors.
How to extend our traditional mission of fellowship assistance to seniors in need throughout our region and engage our workforce in meaningful volunteerism.
How to optimize processes to improve our recreation programming and technology that will help us communicate about the impact of recreation.
And how to inspire staff at all levels to self-optimize and grow in their careers. The way that innovation is possible here is through inspired generosity, gifts from generous people. Much like how startups have to find investors who believe in their big ideas, Westminster Canterbury Foundation strives to find charitable investors who believe in big ideas. We try to find people who are willing to dream with us as in our mission to ensure the very best life possible for our residents and to cultivate leadership in senior services.
Innovation is very possible and is critical for the nonprofit sector. It is not impossible for not-for-profits to pursue this kind of thinking. So whether we're able to make a small investment of dollars or a big investment, when it's combined with hard work and a different way of thinking, we can make a very big difference. There are companies that place just as much importance on mission as they do on their financial return on investment, as we heard from Derek earlier. But both are critical to success. But missional return on investment can be life-changing for those we serve.
Absolutely. The time for innovation for the longevity economy is now.